People in our day and age seem to be searching for a sense of self-worth and fulfillment. But how are people looking for this? It's my personal opinion that people are searching for happiness in our day and age. So, what is happiness? In the articles I read, happiness was many times defined as subjective well-being, or how one experiences the quality of their own life. Subjective well-being takes in both emotional reactions and cognitive judgments into account. From the data I collected, I believe people are universally looking for happiness through religion, while undergraduates, in addition to religion, are looking towards self-image, academic success, and financial stability for happiness. So, across many religions, people are searching for happiness. In a study published in 2014 by Springer Science and Business entitled Religion and Subjective Well-Being, Western and Eastern Religious Groups Achieve Subjective Well-Being in Different Ways, written by Young Zhang, Xia, Francis Chang, Xia Kuang, Chang, and Wai Chiang, Carl Tam. 451 Chinese citizens, 150 of whom were male, and 300 were female, with one missing data point, completed the Chinese version of the subjective well-being test. They answered 24 items on a scale of 1 to 6, 1 being strongly disagree, 6 being strongly agree. And out of a total score of 150, the Buddhists who were surveyed scored a 128.17, Taoists scored 122.86, Atheists scored a 118.17, and Christians scored a 114.78. So, from this data, we can conclude that Eastern religions seem to be significantly happier than people who follow no religions or Western religions. But this data must be taken with a grain of salt, as this study was conducted in an Eastern country, which was China, and it seems that Eastern religions are happier than Western religions. So, I decided to dig a little deeper and to see if maybe the opposite was, or the same was true for people who followed a Western religion in a Western country. Were people who follow Western religions in Western countries happier than those who didn't? So, in a study published in 1999 by Sarah French and Stephen Joseph of Essex University in England, they investigated the relationship between religiosity and subjective well-being. They used the Oxford Happiness Index, the Depression Happiness Scale, the Purpose in Life Test, the Self-Actualization Test, and the Francis Scale of Attitude towards Christianity. 101 undergraduates, 57 of whom were male, 44 were female, between the ages of 18 and 49, with a mean age of 21 years old, who were all in full-time attendance at the university. They found that people who were more religious than those who were not seemed to have a greater sense of purpose in life, or sense of direction and what they were meant to do on this planet. Whereas those who were less religious, or not as religious, do not have as strong of a sense of self-purpose. So although it was not found that religiosity had a positive relationship with happiness directly, it can be, the case can be made that with a greater sense of self-purpose, more happiness can be achieved. So, with religion in mind, how does happiness affect, or how does the average undergraduate search for happiness? In an article published by College Student Journal in 2015 by Deborah M. Flynn and Stephanie McLeod of Nipissing University in Ontario, Canada, they researched the association between subjective well-being in students subjective well-being in students associated with self-image, financial security, academic success, living environment, social relations, and familial support. 192 students were surveyed, 155 who were female, and 37 who were male. The reason for so many females is they just took gender distribution across the campus and applied it to the survey. So there are a significant more amount of women who go to Nipissing University than males. Ages between 18 and 44 with a mean age of 20. They found that 47% of the variance of happiness in these students can be taken into account by self-image, academic success, and financial security in that order. 34.9% of the variance came from self-image, 6.9% came from academic success, and 4.1% came from financial security. So from this we can draw that the students surveyed in this test put an extreme value of their happiness and subjective well-being on how they viewed themselves. If they had higher confidence in themselves and a greater opinion of themselves, they were usually significantly happier than those who had a lower opinion of themselves and did not have as much confidence. So, to recap, people who follow Eastern religions in Eastern countries seem to be happier than those who follow no religion or a Western religion in an Eastern country, whereas white people who follow a Western religion in a Western country seem to have a greater sense of self-worth, which can lead to more happiness. In terms of college, I think we can all relate. If we have a higher opinion of ourselves, we're more likely to put ourselves into situations that require us to be a little more confident, whether that be approaching a group of people you've never met before and making new friends, which could lead to more happiness, or going to an event you were scared to go to, but you had the confidence to go anyway, and you had a really good time. Whereas if you had low self-esteem, you might just sit in your room, and you might not make any connections, and you might become sad or depressed even. I can attest to both of these. I started attending Mass when I was a sophomore in high school, and I can truly say, since I've started becoming more engrossed in the Catholic and Christian faith, I've cultivated a greater sense of purpose in my life. I think I know what I'm on this planet to do, and I think I know what I'm called to do, and I'm happy to do that, and fulfilling that makes me a happier person, and I think I can say I've become significantly more happy since when I was 15 to now when I'm 19, and I think my religion has a huge part in that. As for college, we can all, me specifically, I can say the more confidence I've had to approach people at my time here at Creighton has led to a lot of joy and happiness. I met my friend group because I had the self-confidence to go up and just sit with them and to get to know them, and it's led to a lot of good times and happy experiences. But regardless of what I think happiness means to us, we're all on our own path to happiness. Searching for happiness in our own ways and own means and manners. And it's important to remember that happiness is not a destination. Once you acquire X, Y, and Z, you're not happy. Happiness is a journey that lasts the entirety of our lives. And it's up to each of us individually to find what makes us happy and how to achieve that happiness.